what would you define a friendship is?
I want everyone to like me.
Oh no.
And I want everyone to be my friend. And that could be coming from the insecurity that I have, that I don't have enough friends.
I passed wind.
No.
I feel like there is a friendship here that's developed just on farting. Welcome to The She Word, conversations that women rarely have, but really should. And I'm your host, Trudy Kerr. I recently read The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. It's a brilliant book and I highly recommend it. But part of the book is dedicated to describing, evaluating, and breaking down the values of friendship, which got me thinking, we've talked about relationships, we talk about family, children, partners, work colleagues, but rarely do we intentionally talk about and acknowledge the value of friendship. According to new research, we make just 29 real friends in our lifetime, and only 6 of them will last the distance. A study which charted the social lives of 2,000 people showed that we lose touch with almost 50% of the friends that we make, which echoes the theory we have friends for a reason, friends for a season, and friends for life. Not only do friendships come and go naturally, but sometimes we lose valued friendships through circumstance, distance, misunderstanding, or we decide to break off friendships that are no longer positive. So this is the topic of this edition of The She Word, and I have 3 amazing guests with me to navigate this conversation. Ladies, I am unbelievably excited. Denise Kim Gaffer, an athlete, founder and coach of Savage Lifestyle.
Savage.
Also a content creator, influencer, and I hadn't noticed this about you before, but you studied automotive engineering at MCAST, mechanical engineering. I'm so stunned. I want to find out more about that, but also about your beautiful lips in just a moment. Chelsea Bagnall, British-born, Malta-based Chelsea, a beautician who is also the winner of Malta's first Love Island. Do you ever get fed up with people saying you are the winner of the first Love Island?
To be honest with you, it's died down a bit, so it's not as bad when we came out.
I'm still going to say
nice.
The winner of the first Love Island here in Malta, who is affectionately outspoken, as bold as brass, as we'd say from the UK. And you've been on several of the shows here, including Dating and the rundown on women and their thoughts on men. More about that in just a second.
Yes.
Melissa
Spigner
is American Maltese from San Diego, California, an accomplished career woman who's based also here in Malta, whose surname I obviously still cannot pronounce. And you've also been on how many shows? 2 shows?
2 shows.
2 shows. You've been on the dating. And you've also
men,
Yeah, you've been on the only show that we had men on.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad, ladies, that you're at this table. And I'm going to come back to you and ask you to fill in the gaps. And I'm going to start with you, Denise. I had no idea that you had mechanical engineering.
I did actually. I have this love of finding out how things work. So that is how I started studying mechanical engineering, because I wanted to know how things work. But then obviously I succumbed to my comfort zone and I went back working with my family. So
That's really cool though. I would have loved to have done, yeah.
I feel like if my car breaks down, I could actually.
Yeah.
I kind of learned because I used to.
I do know a thing or two. Yeah. I do know. Sorry, I have a bit of a lisp because of my lips.
Okay. Stop everything. You need to explain the lips. Okay, let's start with that.
I had to say it.
So yeah, what happened with the lips?
Well, obviously, I mean, like many women, I hope you understand. I had them done yesterday. So,
but they look gorgeous.
But they're really big. They're gonna go down hopefully in a couple of days. So really bad timing.
They look great.
No, we all think that you look absolutely great.
I can't reach the top of my lips. So if you see me licking my lips, I'm not being seductive or anything. I'm just really awkward.
I'm sitting opposite. I'm loving this. This is going to be like. Okay, Melissa. I'm sorry. I just never can pronounce yours.
Spigner.
I know. I've got a mental block there. More about you.
More about me. I mean, I don't know. Why am I here? we don't know, right? I'm entertainment. Let's see. So I work for an international tax advisory. My educational background is in business. I'm director of a serviced office company as well. I'm a semi-permanent makeup artist on the weekends and in my spare time. And I also do some charity work for a committee for a foundation that I guess we operate in the theatrical arts sphere. We put on productions, making them accessible to everybody. So I do loads of things.
Basically, that's what I say about
Loads of
Americans,
things.
this is what I mean. They're big.
Too much. and I'm a podcaster now. No,
And now you've taken over the show. I'm so glad that you're here again. And it's really nice because we've got the three of you who've all been on the show before. Mm-hmm. Chelsea, you were in the hilarious show on dating, I seem to remember.
Yes, I think so. The first one was...
The first one in the Young Women's edition. Yeah. And then you were on a show with me where we were talking about women and men.
Yep.
And I'm so glad to have you back. Did I miss out any more details about you, apart from the fact that, yes, you were the winner of the first Love Island here in Malta?
Not really. I'm a beauty therapist. I started my own business just as I got out of Love Island, and I'm doing quite well. So
brilliant! Oh, I'm really glad. Well, cheers to that. Chin chin.
Cheers.
Chin, chin. Well, cheers to having you at the table, ladies.
I don't want to knock them.
There we go.
Table's too big.
Chin.
It is a bit.
So look, we're going to be talking about friendships,
mm-hmm.
and when I sat down to think about this, I really thought to myself, we just don't put enough value on our friendships. And then when I went in and started researching this, I was really surprised that we only have 29 true friendships in our lifetime, and probably only 6 of them, statistically speaking, are going to last until the full distance. So I'm going to ask each of you, before we dive into your friendships and what makes up your friendships and how they all work and so on and so forth and what we value, what would you define a friendship is? Because I would say that we all have very different ideas of friendships and the values that we put in friendships. So what do you think a friendship is?
I would say more like someone that doesn't judge you for mistakes. They will help you through them and like support you. Because like, listen, at the end of the day, we're only humans. We all make mistakes in certain things. And we're all learning. So if there's someone like my friends, I would say that that's what they're like. I know that I can go to them for the good, the bad, the ugly, you know what I mean? So something like that, I would definitely say.
Okay.
And as we get older, I guess we don't have that much time to nurture our friendships. Mm-hmm. But I think more mature friendships and the one that lasts a lifetime are the ones who, even though you haven't seen each other and you haven't spoken in a really long time, or you maybe effed up too many times, you still find them there to support you no matter what. They'll hide the body if they need.
Yes.
Bring a shovel, don't ask questions.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I'm like a little bit worried now.
I think that there are different kinds of friendships. I don't think that you can just define friendship as, one particular thing. I mean, it's like you mentioned in the intro, there are friends for a reason, friends for a season, friends for life. So, for me personally, I have many different kinds of friends. There are friends that I would call with good news and share good news with. There are other people that are friends that I would call in bad times that I know will support me without judgment, as you said. There are friends that I like to spend time with because I just have a good time with them. There are friends that I've had because, for a specific reason in my life or a season, like you're both going through the same period of time, or, have things in common, or, So I think that there are many different kinds of friendship, and I think that people need to learn to embrace that and be okay also with friendships not lasting a lifetime. I think there are times where people come and go from our lives, and we have to be okay with letting people go, and that we have to realize that new people will come in as well and make the effort there.
So Melissa has just summed up the whole show, so we can all go home.
Yep.
That's it,
Perfect.
done, dusted. But we are going to touch and dive into all of these areas. But one of the things that you just touched on back there is friends for different reasons. However, a friend of mine who I have very limited contact with now, but I would still regard a friend if I saw them, once said to me, Ted, big American friend of mine said to me, True, I'm not going to do the accent. Ted said to me, you cannot have more friends than you can count on one hand because we do not have enough time to invest in true deep friendships with more than 5 people. Do you think that's true?
I believe so. I'm someone who, I'm not going to say I don't have any friends. I have loads of friends, but that is the problem. I have way too many. So I don't invest in any of them. I don't nurture my friendship. So when it comes to, I don't know, when I'm alone on a weekend or when I need support, I don't turn to any of them because they're all 20%. I give them 20% of my time. So who am I? And I mean, not who am I, but it's just awkward to just call them up. Hey, I'm crying right now. I'm gonna die.
And
like,
I don't
can
feel
you...
like you've made a true friend then to feel that way that you can't open up to some of your friends.
They're all true friends because they've all been there for me. But I think I'm the issue here. I don't think I nurture friendships enough.
If one of them called you and they were like, Denise,
I'm there.
crying.
I'm there. I'm that type of person.
But you don't feel like you could go to them because of you, because of the way you are.
But I think we underestimate that.
Yeah, I think
in,
if you called
in
them,
ourselves too. I mean, or maybe overestimate how awkward you think it's going to be. So maybe, you know, you're overthinking that if you reach out to this person, they're going to be angry with you, or they're going to be upset hearing from you, or they don't want to help you.
I think it's more like I think it's more like a personal issue. For example,
you like to keep it to yourself a little
Not keep
bit.
it to myself, because believe me, I am an open book. I'm going to tell you all my problems as soon as I meet you for the first time, and that's why I have a lot of friends. But it's like, unless you really put in the effort and you commit to them, which is, as I said, something I suffer with, commitment, especially in friendships. It's awkward to just call them up and be like, hey, what are we doing this weekend? Because they have plans. You know what I mean? So
But you said something back there that really, really sparked a thought in me. Because you said, you know, if I'm having a bad day, if I'm having a really rough time, I'd feel uncomfortable calling them.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not entirely sure that that's, how can I put it? That is something I experience. And I've got some really good friends. But if I was to have a bad day, a couple of weeks ago, I was having a really tough day. And I was right at the end of my wit. And I just didn't know who to call. And it's not my friends aren't great. They're fantastic. I didn't want to put it on them. I didn't want to phone up and say, you know what, I'm having a really totally shit day, and I you know, have you got 5 minutes to listen to me? Yeah. And that's not them. That's me.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what you're
that's
saying.
What I mean.
That's me.
That's what I'm saying, that we overthink this in ourselves. If somebody, I guarantee you, probably most people on the other side on the receiving end of that text or that phone call would be willing to give you their time and attention and listen and hear you out. It's just that we overthink it and we overestimate, you know, how much they're going to judge us and how awkward it's going to be.
Maybe, but
then it's, you know, it's putting you out.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So why am I out of nowhere suddenly just barging in and going, hey, can we hang out? Because I have nothing to do this weekend. I don't think that's fair, because if you don't nurture the friendship,
yeah, you have you have to give effort.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. It's very difficult because you get caught up in your life, maybe relationships, and you give too much into romantic relationships where you neglect friendships, which is something I suffer with.
Yeah, I've done it
a lot. So then you come out of the romantic relationship and you're there and you're like, shit.
But people need to accept that we go through different stages in our life, and this is why we have different friends at different times.
Yeah, 100%.
To be fair, I was never the person to have. So even in school, I never had best friends. I always had friends in every class. I had all types of friends, from younger to the naughty ones to the really smart ones. Everyone was my friend because I'm a big people person. I love people. But I love them for a moment. And then when I need to leave and when I need to change it, this is where my ADHD comes in. I'm like, okay, bye now. And I just leave.
Yeah.
And I just hop on to the next friend or thing or work. I get caught up with work a lot, which is something that can also come in the way of friendships as you get older, I guess. that's how you end up forgetting friendships and drifting apart.
Absolutely. But you also touched on something really, really key there. You talked about friendships at school. And I'm a big lover of this book by Mel Robbins, The Let Them Theory. She talks, and this is where this all came from, me starting to think much more about friendships, because she talks about the difference between friendships at school, where everybody's on the same journey as you. Everybody is in the same place and everybody's doing the same thing. And then she talks about this sort of she calls it the great migration, when you become adults and you start moving in different directions. And friendships are based on very, very different things. And it's interesting you saying how you move on from one friendship to another. It's still, statistically, it still says that we have 26 friends, average of 26 friends throughout our lifetime, and they're not all going to make the distance with us.
See,
but they don't all have to either.
I think with mine, I've got 2 best friends back in England, and I've known one of them since 1996 and the other one since 1997. And now we went through school being friends, but sometimes not that close. Then we would get close again, not so close. And now I couldn't imagine my life without them. Like
Even though you're apart.
Yes. Oh, and that's the thing.
That's very sweet.
I call them, I have really good friends here, don't get me wrong, but they know absolutely everything about me, my 2 best friends back in England. So I literally will call them for anything.
Take care and enjoy good health. Browns, empowering wellness by providing convenient and innovative health services.
Periods are part of the game, but they don't have to throw you off your game. Try new Always Platinum for up to 100% leak protection, faster absorption, dry feel, and it's more cushiony, so you can focus on your game. It's a new period, always.
This is really interesting because most friendships are based on 3 elements: time, proximity, and energy. And you have to have a balance of those. So it might be that you have people that are in close proximity, as they are when you're kids, and so that you have plenty of time to be around them, and then you have plenty of energy. But these friendships, and you must have friendships that are with people overseas as well, that requires more energy because the time that you have to spend with them and the proximity is less. So there's a balance of these 3 things. I myself, I am so lucky. I've had my best friend for 51 years.
Wow.
She's 2 months older than me. Just pointing that out. And I've known her all my life. And we did drift apart at one, not even drift apart. I had to tell her.
You're just at different parts of your life.
No, I had to tell her something about her then fiance.
Oh.
And she didn't take it well. And we didn't speak for 8 years.
Oh.
But when she came back and she said, "I'm sorry, you were right."
Yeah, no.
It was like, drop everything.
Right back
it's fine.
to
It's
normal.
right back
Yeah.
there. And having, but I don't know about you, but your friends, and it's a question. If I met that friend today, if I met her now, we don't have a single thing in common. We wouldn't be friends. But as it is, we did our first shoplifting together.
You did.
Which is now confessed. Tell us more.
Yeah.
We smoked our
Trudy.
first cigarette together. We
Yeah.
drank our first
That's
booze
like me,
together. But if I met her, I mean, whenever we get together, we're like, remember when we went shoplifting in South Woodford? We stole that.
Always talking about the past as well.
Yes. And you have to work hard to make new memories with them because you can't just live in the
But then
past.
you change as people, the both of you. And it's like, shall we keep on making the effort to sustain this friendship or not? Well, do you?
I think sometimes in the, and it goes back to what you were saying about your 2 friends, sometimes you just have a comfort level.
I think I don't think people realize how important and how critical friendships are in our lives. In the sense that especially now as we get older, like it's as you were saying, so when we start out when we're children, we always have friends, right? I mean, we're forced into friendships. We go to school, there are people around us that are our age. As we get older, people start to drift apart. Even in, for example, I have a small group of very, very close, I have loads of friends as well. I can message loads of people and meet up with different people and check in with lots of people. But my core group is about, I don't know, there's like 5 or 6 of us. And right now, each of us are in different points in our lives. Someone's just met the love of their life and, fallen in love. And so I haven't seen this person in a couple of months. Am I going to take it personally and, be upset with that person and pull back and say, well, I'm not going to message her because she hasn't been messaging me? We have to make the effort too, because these friendships are important. Not every friendship is important, but friendship in itself, I think, is critical to our happiness and our mental health and our well-being.
And I witnessed it firsthand. See, I've always been in relationships all my life, either that or working. And so I never found, I always had friend flings. I'd have a friendship for a fling, for a short period of time.
I love that. That's so cool.
I've had so many friendship flings, so many. We got even tattoos together.
That's fine.
We traveled together. It's so okay. But then you have, like you said, you have your core friends. I don't have those. And I look at some of these, so I look at the friends that I have and I see them with their core friends. Sometimes I ask them, hey, let's hang out. And they'll be like, no, because I'm with my best friend and I'm doing this. And I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, wow.
That's heartbreaking. And this is what I meant in the beginning of what I was saying in the beginning of the podcast, is that I have so many friends, but you don't have that core friendship with anyone. It's very lonely. And unfortunately, sometimes it's just how you are. And that is how I am. It's because I never nurtured a friendship well enough. And that's what I'm doing this year. So
I think you have to put yourself out of your comfort zone.
1,000,000%.
Yes, I've been recently single, and since years, I've been in a relationship for years. And when I say years, not with the same person, but I've always been in relationships all my life, romantic ones. So I've never nurtured friendships.
Yeah.
So this is the year to friendships for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love
Friendship
that.
era.
I also think when you're in a relationship, because historically I've always been in relationships pretty much my entire adult life with different people, but I've been a relationship person, and I've always, like at the start of every relationship, if I think it's going to be something serious, then I always say, to me, it's really important that you and I have time together. You have time with your friends. I have time with my friends. We have time alone. And we have time all together, like with our friends together. It's really important for me. I think that's and not everybody makes time for friendships outside of relationships. There are people that become completely consumed in a relationship. And I think people can have a tendency to take that personally or get offended by it or be angry with the person that they're, not giving you attention anymore, that they've pulled away. For me, I don't. I just realize it's kind of what you touch upon. It's energy, it's timing. This time in their life, they're in their relationship, they're giving their energy to that. That's fine. It doesn't mean that we won't be friends in the future. We just have to kind of be flexible and let them, in the words of Mel Robbins, right? But
I've done what you've said, Denise. I've been in your shoes. And I'm not going to say that I don't, but when you see your friends going out with other people and you weren't invited because over the last 3 or 4 years, I've had very limited time here in Malta.
Exactly, back and
because
forth.
I've been going backwards and forwards, and you see your friends going out and they haven't asked you, and that hurts.
It does.
I
You
saw
can't
this
blame
thing
them.
about it though. There was if you don't get invited, don't ask, because
Exactly.
do you know
That's
what I mean?
that's what
So
mean when
I am
say
exactly the
don't-
same.
don't
If
call them.
if
It's
I go on
awkward.
Instagram and I see some of the girls out and I just feel
But then
could have just
where
asked
do you
what
go
I'm
from
doing.
there? Do you just watch people go by and not
No,
I tend to fall into another relationship.
yeah,
but
No.
just get another
I have
man.
dogs. I have Netflix.
mutually
you know what, that's what I
exclusive
need.
things. For me, if I see other people going out without me, and I know that I've pulled away because I've been really consumed with work. So, for example, another person in my core friend group is coming to the culmination of a 2-year-long project that he's been working on at his business. And these past 2 months, we haven't seen him barely at all. But I know he's working, he'll come back. I mean, it's okay for him to come back to us after 2 months and be like, hey guys, haven't really texted in 2 months, haven't really seen you in 2 months, but we know he's been working. So I'm not going to take that personally against him. It's just that's what he's been doing. If he contacted me and was like, okay, let's have a coffee tomorrow, or let's go for a walk, or let's, go for a gym session, or let's go for a night out, I'd be like, yeah, you're back. Yes, let's do this.
But you just said something really interesting. It made me think about what Denise was saying, because you just said, hey, listen, go for a gym session, go and do a workout, blah, blah, blah. Are our friendships, now that we're grown-ups, maybe, are our friendships based on having similar passions and similar pastimes? Because your two friends in the UK probably aren't. You're probably living a very different life, but you're saying, yes, that's the friendships that you want.
Because I have very limited time. So like I said, it always depends on the person and who you are as a person. I have very limited time in my life because I'm so busy as a person. I love keeping busy with so many things, with this and that. And I have my plate very full. So for you to be my friend, you have to make sense into my life. I had best friends when I was younger. I was 18 years old. I had these two guys. We used to call ourselves the boys. Because I was very much like a boy like them, and we used to have so much fun. But one became a workaholic. The other one stuck to that whole drinking, lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I was into fitness and going out and like looking good and this and that. So looking good. Sorry.
You look gorgeous. Those lips are fantastic.
Never gonna let that
those
one
lips.
down.
I mean, like, beauty stuff. And we drifted apart. And I keep trying to rekindle the friendship because we used to have so much fun. And they were my core friends for a time. But it just can't work now because one, all he does is work. The other one, all he does is drink. And it's like every time we meet, I don't want to
drink. But then there is like making time for it. I would say that I'm a bit different.
Up excuses, so.
Yeah, I've got my best friend, she's got 3 kids. And then the other one, she works a lot and stuff like that, but we just make the time. Even if I'm cooking, I have them on my phone on FaceTime, chatting away while I'm doing stuff. And even in the evenings, like at the minute with me and one of them, we're starting reading like the same books. And then we like FaceTime to talk about it and stuff like that, just to have. But sometimes I will go like a week without speaking to them. And it's weird. Like, I'll be like, are you guys alive? And it's just because we do get busy. But no, I think that we are at different places in our life, but we all like still stick together.
Yeah, as you said, you make the effort,
yes.
right? So.
And I think it's just different with like different people with that kind of thing.
But that's really honest of Denise. The two contrasts there is that you're saying I make time, and you're saying, Denise, I have to have friends who will fit in with my schedule because
she's so busy.
You also said, and I think this is really important, you've chosen to be that busy. You like being that busy.
Yes, it is.
I try to find a balance somewhere in the middle.
I get too stressed. And then I'll ring them anyway, like,
look at me, my hair's falling apart.
My lips.
I guess it's who I am. So as I said, you have to find the people who would fall naturally into your life. Okay, this year I'm going to start nurturing friendship, so maybe I change that because you can't, like we said, you have to put in the effort. And what comes very natural to me is being friends with my clients, which is very bad. But at the same time, I've had some really good friendships, relationships out of clients, but then eventually I end up losing them as clients because then we become friends and I just end up giving them free memberships. And I'm like,
but I say after starting my business, friends, they don't become clients as much. Like, I think clients become friends more than friends become clients.
No, yes, but that's what I mean. So my clients end up always becoming my friends. That's why I said I have friends everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But because you have that like very similar drive, they're there with you as clients for a specific purpose, and it's something that you're passionate about, and they're coming.
Not necessarily, because I've had clients who are lazy and they just come to me because they just need that push, and it's not, and they end up stopping because they're so lazy. They don't want to do it anymore. But we still meet every now and then.
Yeah.
You
'Cause
know?
you like made a bond kind of.
Exactly. But it's like a bit here, a bit there.
So it's the failed clients. that become
Your friendship flings.
Exactly.
There you
These
go.
are my friendship friends.
From
I love
clients.
that. You said something I want to touch on. You said that you make an effort with your friends and you speak to them, I'm guessing every week.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, every week.
Okay. Because as I've gotten older, I don't even know if it's because I've gotten older, but I have friends that and I don't know if you guys are the same, that I would consider very close friends, but I can go months without speaking to them and probably only see them every year, 2 years,
I have
But
friends like that also.
where you drop in and suddenly you're there sitting at the table and as if it was yesterday.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that? Because
I just think that's a really strong bond
Yeah,
between you
maturity.
guys.
And
life
not
gets
taking it
busy.
personally that, distance happens. People get busy.
Yeah.
Circumstances in life change. People pick up relationships. People get married. People have kids. People start businesses. Stuff happens. So it's about not taking it personally.
So we've all got the giggles because we know this is going to be in the
I know. I've
bloopers.
seen it in the corner of my eye, and I'm just like, oh,
I
go on,
need to
Denise.
I need to keep them hydrated.
And I have friends that I have like people that I text every single morning. Like I wake up and it's the first thing I do. I say good morning to so many people.
Do you?
I do. And it's just a good morning, but it lets them know.
Okay, we're on.
She's like,
my number.
"Whoa."
Yeah.
I can text you.
We want to get on the list.
We'll be
We
friends
do.
for 3 weeks before she
Yeah, she
drops me
did.
for a client.
Yeah. The fling is over. Bye, Melissa.
No, hey, I'm always there for you. It's just, life gets in the way.
Yeah.
But there is statistically as well that, and coming back to this idea of these friends that you message first thing in the
I
morning,
do.
that
Every day.
a deep friendship, a good friendship, takes 7 years to establish. So experts say that if you have a friendship that's lasted longer than 7 years, it's a good chance that friendship is going to last a lifetime. Forever friends are a rare gem, and they're few and far between, according to statistics, which is priceless when they last, because we all know what it's like to have that friend who knows you and knows your worst moment and knows when and went shoplifting with you. But the values that you have then have to be instilled in. Is that what it is? Those long friendships, are they just about values? Because you said your friends doing completely different things to you. What is it that ties you together?
I don't know, because even when I moved here, one of my best friends, the one with the kids, we went a couple of months without speaking to each other. And then it was like, hey, we were spending every day with each other, and I've moved away and it's gone like that. And it was like, right, no, we both need to make an effort. And it became a thing that we made an effort. If I don't ring them every week, I'm definitely sending voice notes, or she will send a video of something she's done around the house or something like that, just keeping up to date. So I don't know, I just think it's just giving the effort, but I've seen this thing that they say as well, that if you feel like you're the one always messaging and stuff like that, stop watering the plant or something it is, and then it just dies.
But
I think
some people get used to that. So
Yeah.
I'm, like I said, I have loads of people that I
you
message
message
all the
every
time.
morning.
Now people are going to watch this, and I know people that aren't getting my good morning text
they're
are
like,
going to be like, why am I not getting my good morning text? Okay, but
We want the good morning
Yeah.
text.
We're on a
we'll
group chat.
change now. We're in a group chat now. Exactly. I'll text you good morning tomorrow.
That's cheating.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the
doing this.
values.
And watering
yeah.
the plants of
Oh yeah, but so I do that with people. I say good morning every morning to certain people, and I do with certain friendships. I know that I'm the person that usually reaches out. This is not with the daily crowd, but other friendships that are maybe not the close friends, but whatever. I reach out every so often and say, hey, it's been a few weeks. Shall we grab a coffee? Or hey, just not even making a suggestion to me, just checking in, just letting them know that you're thinking about them, or I saw this and it reminded me of you, or whatever. And I know that very often with these people, I'm the one making that effort. And for me, that's fine. I think it's about being flexible and not taking it personally and not getting offended by it. And I'm not saying that you always need to drag on every friendship. It's like, they're bad relationships. If bad relationship, you don't sit in it forever, you move on.
Exactly.
But I don't think there's anything wrong in being the person that reaches out. I think we're too hard on ourselves and we overthink that sometimes. And then with other people that I'm friends with, I know that they're usually the ones that initiate with me. And I know they're going to text me. So I don't, like, they're usually the ones to check in. So maybe they think that, I don't know. It doesn't mean that, no, but it doesn't mean that that friendship means less to me. It's just that I know that these people, I'll hear from them, you know? So it's not taking someone for granted, because then I could say that about the other people that I'm that person for. It's just, I know that some people, if I don't text them, they're not as good at it as I am. And I know that there are some people who I don't text who will, undoubtedly, I'll hear from them after a while. So it's like, oh, well, and I'm not saying I never initiate, I do, but it ebbs and flows. Like, and it can't be a scoreboard. It can't be like, oh, well, you don't text me, so I'm not going to text you.
That's very childish.
I get that, but
you didn't invite me to this, so
there should be a level of respect to each other as well.
Agreed.
So I'm not going to constantly go out of my way, because I have a busy life as well. It would be nice just to be like, hey, how you doing? Even if it's once in a month. I'm not saying they have to message me every day, but it'd be nice sometimes that they do check in, and especially if, like, I don't know, you put something on social media hinting that you're having a bit of a bad day, and a nice little message, just say, even if you just say, hope you're good.
I am very guilty of not messaging people. So
are you one of them ones that don't message back as well? I'm definitely not going to be messaging.
But
it'll be in the group chat. Good morning, guys. I'll get replies from the two of you.
And like,
every now and then I remember, and I'm like, Dan, make the effort. And I message them, and I'm like, hey, how are you? They're excited to reply, because they don't get messages from me very often. So they reply, and then I'm like, okay, I'm busy now. And I don't reply again. But that's the thing. It's like,
but at least you did make the effort of just being like,
you know what? If you really need me, I will drop everything for you. And I will do that to anyone who is anyone. I could meet you today for the first time, and tomorrow you tell me, hey, I need a lift, or I need whatever. Even if it's really like big, I will drop everything and help.
Yeah, if you can,
Ideal Standing, celebrating 90 years of success in the local market, exclusively from Satariano.
Something about the way you bounce makes me want to keep you around my mind. My mind. Something about the way you sound shakes me up and makes me get down on my.
Welcome to Maison Perrier. Discover Maison Perrier Chic and enjoy our new non-alcoholic cocktail range. Maison Perrier. Enjoy our new sophisticated mocktails.
I'm seeing that maybe when this show goes out, Denise is going to get bombarded by everybody coming and saying, can you come and fix my car? Do you mind? We know that you're a mechanic now.
As long as you're my friend and you want to be friends.
Current friend, guys. Current friend.
But there's so much that we've said that's in the middle of the table here. And I so much to kind of dive more deeply into, but there's something that you guys both said that I want to pick up on, and you just touched on it briefly, and that is breakups. We've talked about having these, what did you call friendships? These
friendship flings.
Friendship flings. I love this.
Yeah.
But also friendship breakups, because I know as an adult, I've actually chosen to end friendships because they were no longer positive.
Yep.
And I probably agonized over that as much as I would have done a relationship.
Oh, 100%. And you stay in that friendship because you're like, okay, I've been friends with them for a while, like you do with a man sometimes. And then you're just like, no, now you're taking the piss, really. And you start seeing that side of them more and more and more. And like you were saying earlier, some people come in your life and then they go.
Yeah.
It's like a train, they say, listen to me coming up with all these things. They get on.
These analogies,
But no, I totally agree. So like, and sometimes it can be really hard to have a breakup with a friend, especially ones that have been with you.
For sure. I don't know what that's like.
You don't know what it's like because you're the one leaving them in the dust.
I avoid the breakup stage.
You just
ghost them. For me, it's like I'm really, 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 really patient. And it's like I'm saying, I will make the effort and it doesn't bother me and I don't take it personally. I get told all the time that I'm way too patient with people. But then, you're dead to me. You can do you can do one thing and I'll reach my limit. And I've done this with quite a few people. Hopefully they don't watch this show. But I literally haven't spoken to them. I've been like,
cold turkey.
And
I'll
be like,
care.
no, I'll tell them. I'm like, well, not you're dead to me, but I'll be like,
we're done.
We're never speaking again.
Wow.
Done. I've stuck with it. I have.
I wouldn't be able
with
to.
quite a few people.
You wouldn't.
I'm a big people pleaser, and I want everyone to like me.
Oh no.
And I want everyone to be my friend. And that could be coming from the insecurity that I have, that I don't have enough friends.
Yeah.
Maybe. But
this is really interesting. I'm sorry, because wow, I'm just like wowing at the table because we're coming at this from so many different viewpoints, because you've just said this absolutely massive admission, which is maybe you don't have those deep friendships because you don't want people to get close to you so that you don't break up with them. Because and maybe there's a certain amount of...
I've had how do you say it? I've been backstabbed when I was younger. So I think in a way I have maybe some trust issues as well.
Yeah.
So I don't let the friendship get to the point of should I trust you or not. So I just keep it at that level of
distance.
safety.
Yes.
So I have, I don't intend to do it. I don't use them. But I guess it's because it's coming from insecurity.
Yeah, you're protecting yourself.
Exactly.
You're protecting
It's a
yourself.
protection mechanism.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But also, you talked about these. You're dead to me. I've done this. I've done this twice to two friends. I've said, nope, that's it. We're done. And I've actually said it to their face. We're done now. And then afterwards, gone back and questioned over and over again. Was that the right thing to do? Was that the right thing to do? Was that the right thing to do? But I stuck to it.
But you know why? I would never do that to someone who
didn't deserve it.
In my opinion, deserve it. And I don't say that in a spiteful way. I'm not a petty person at all. It's just that I'm very good to my friend. I'm not perfect, but I'm a good friend.
At all.
And it's just like, okay,
sometimes you have your limit.
It's like you said, you're taking the piss now.
Yeah.
So it's it. It's people have either done something really horrible to me or said something really horrible to me, where I was just like, okay, you've now crossed the line, and this is toxicity in my life that I don't need, and that's done. And also, I identify with what you say, with what you just touched upon as well. I think it's something that's changed. Being open with people, that's something that's changed over the course of my life as well. When I was growing up, when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, whatever, even something my mother always used to tell me would be like, keep your stuff to yourself. Don't tell everybody your secrets. Don't tell everybody how you're feeling, because people will backstab you, and you can't trust everybody. You have to be careful about. So that was just something that was kind of always instilled with me, I guess, because of her experiences. And it really, you're very influential or easily influenced, at that time in your life when you're growing up. So that stuck with me, and it took me absolute ages to be able to develop. I would say I didn't make really strong bonds until my early 30s, where I started actually telling people things that were going on in my life, or that I would everything's okay. My friends in my younger days used to tell me I'm just ostrichy, I'm like hiding my head, and they know I'm not telling them something, but it's there, And now I am open with people. I would have never done a podcast about anything personal before, And I would have been too worried about people thinking what
I was going to say, the irony is that
I'm the complete opposite.
You protect yourself, but you've said yourself, I'm an open book.
Yeah.
Since I was very young, as you said, your mother told you not to share too much. My mom did the opposite of that. She's like, I'm like her. We're very open. We're chat boxes. We talk non-stop about everything and anything. That's why I have so many friends, because also people confide in me a lot, and I love listening and I love helping a lot. But I think one thing that it's the drawback from it is that when I was younger, for example, in school, I was bullied for it. And bullied not directly to my face, but my own clique of friends made fun of me and excluded me in so many things because I was different, because I used to speak my mind. And I was a bit wild as well as a young girl. I had tattoos at 14, you know. I used to go out party. And I was very different than them, but they didn't like me for who I am, yet they still kept me around. So I was like the extra. So that kind of, obviously, I kind of like, they excluded me, or maybe I excluded myself. And that kind of like went on as a pattern in my life. So every time I'm in a group of friends, I always feel left out. So that's why I always end up having one friend for a short period of time. As soon as they start either including me with the group, or it gets so intense, or like to the point where you're starting to trust each other, that's where I'm like, okay, I don't have time
You
for
like
this.
break away from
Self-sabotage.
it.
Exactly. And that's where I'm like, okay, ciao.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it also comes down to, I think, also how much time we have to invest.
Yeah.
And friendships, deep friendships, these 7-year plus friendships do take investment. I'm going to come back because I want to still touch on the idea of friendship breakups, which you avoid. And Melissa, you have said that you've had. Have you had a friendship breakup? Have you turned around and
yes.
said, "Oh, wow, okay, Chelsea's in with that one"?
Yes, definitely. I had a friend that I let her come stay with me, and she was living with me at one point, and she crossed the line on something, and I just thought, you know what? I'm a good person at the end of the day. I let things slide. And I just told her to get her stuff and leave. And yeah, I never spoke to her again.
Same as you close the door and that's it.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong though. I found out that she had a bit of trouble not long ago. Like, not trouble. She was a bit poorly, let's say. And I said to the person, I hope she's well and stuff like that. I think that I am a kind of person, she didn't do, like, it's not like she slept with my boyfriend or something really bad. We had an argument that I thought, like, she crossed the line how she spoke to me and was disrespectful. But I think if she ever did ring me and she was like, I am like in a really bad place and I just need to speak to someone, I think that's sometimes where you say like you're a people pleaser.
Yeah.
I can be. That I will then think,
I think that's empathy too.
yes, like I would then be like, I would feel bad thinking, oh, maybe she's going through a really hard time and it's me that she would like to speak to, like she wants to just vent off. But I then know that there wouldn't be a like the friendship it was before, because I would never like put myself in that situation again.
Exactly.
I would just have the respect for her to let her speak to me, and if there's like a problem or something that I could give her advice on, but that would be it.
Doesn't this come back to this whole idea that we have friends for a reason, friends for a season,
Yeah.
even in your case, if the season is very short, but there's still friends for a reason, friends for a season, and friends for life. And the chances are we're only going to take 6 people with us until our end
I can't
days.
even count 3 people.
That's
take for the rest
crazy,
of my
Denise.
life.
I
know.
would never have, like, I don't know you that well, but I would never have thought that.
Mm-mm.
Like,
It's very lonely, I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
It's very lonely because, as I said, when you really need someone and you don't find that person who you can turn to, don't get me wrong, I have a family, but they're not very
And
emotional.
it's different
so
sometimes with
They're
family.
not emotional. My family, they're workaholics. I mean, I'm sick and they go through so much. I call my mom and I'm like, Ma, or as the other day I was at my family's house and I'm like, Ma, this and that, I broke up. And my dad goes, huh, what did you do? And I'm like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So I
Not
can't
dealing
even
with
get
it,
that
no.
support from them. So I have sisters who try to be friends with me. But again, we're not the same. So it's very difficult. So
you need that energy from
Yeah.
somebody
No.
that
When I see these groups of girlfriends, when they go out and they have these friendships since they were young, I am so envious.
Yeah.
I don't even think it needs to be since you were young. Like, I've met people, so I've been in Malta for 7 years now.
That's what I was about to say.
I have friends that in Malta that I've known since, because I lived here also when I was younger, and then I left for America and came back again. And I spent a long time away, so they're old friends. So I have old friends that I've known for like 20 years, who I don't see as often as I'd like to, because we're at different times in our life. Most of them are just having babies and getting married, and I'm not, so I see them less, and that's natural. It doesn't mean we're not good friends, but I've made loads of new friends most of the people my good morning people, and most of the people that
Good morning people.
that I hang out
They
with
have a
on a
drunk
regular
name.
basis are new friends that I've made since randomly since I moved to this country, just really randomly. And so it's not, I don't think that you need to necessarily, sometimes people just come into your life and your energy just vibes, and they can be you can, or for me at least, you can just immediately click with someone and be like, yes, this is great. This is working.
Yes, I agree. I know what you're saying. And that is why I have these friendship flings.
Yeah.
But as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that, again, it's just a fling. So currently I do have this one friend who I vent out to. We'd send voice notes all day. She's there for me, I'm there for her, and it feels so good. But deep down, I know it's not going to last because she has her own clique. She has her own group of friends, which she's been friends with since they were young. And I'm not a part of it. So I'm only, and
Yeah, but you can be a different kind of friend. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I bring all my groups together. I'm
exactly.
like, guys, I've got this group. We're going to do this tonight. This is not part of that group, but let's all go together. If you want to do something, here's where I'm going tonight.
Since I've had so many friendship flings,
yeah,
for me, it's a pattern.
Yeah.
So I recognize it from before, and I'm like, this might not even last, which it would break my heart because I'm going through a bit of a time right now in my life. Nothing major, nothing serious, but it's big. I mean, I just hit 30 and I'm trying this new thing where instead of getting into another relationship, I'm nurturing friendship. So it's a big change in my life. And I wish it's not a fling, I wish it's more than that. But I'm still very cautious and very scared that it will eventually be like every
that
other
takes
friendship.
time, and that takes at least you're aware of it.
Yes. And this is the nurturing, right?
Yeah.
So
I think as well with my friends back home, because I moved here when I was 22. So that age is I grew up with my friends back home for 22 years. It was and when I came here, I knew so many people because I used to come every summer. I've got loads of family because they just love breeding. But I didn't, there was no television in them days. But I didn't have friends. I used to call my best friends. I used to go out drinking with, like you said, the flings. I used to have friendship flings all the time. I would go out with them and I'd think, yes, I'm finally getting into a friendship group in Malta. Then it would just end, everyone would drift apart, or they're not really my kind of scene. And I would ring my friends. In fact, one time I was walking home from the pub and I called one of my best friends in a mess. I don't know if I've made the right choice moving here because I'm not making friends. And she flew out. She flew out to come and spend some time with me because I hit a bit of a lonely, depressed stage of friendship.
You just hit a nail right on the head.
Dercos, recommended by dermatologists. Anti-hair loss protocol. A concentration of aminexil in a scalp treatment to reduce hair loss by 29%. And in a stimulating shampoo to boost volume by 48%. A potent synergy for hair 3 times stronger. Anti-hair loss protocol. By Dercos, the dermatological scalp and hair expert.
That Melissa mentioned a minute ago, and it also touches on what you said before about people who do something similar to you that are in your kind of area of interest. And that is because at this table we have 3 different nationalities.
Yeah.
We've got American, we've got Maltese, all of us, and we've got English. Now, when I met you, Chelsea, we had never spoken before, but we clicked because we have areas in the UK in common.
Yeah.
And ordinarily, when I'm in Malta, I do avoid English people like the plague. But there's some sort of comfort
100%.
I can turn around and say to you, oh, I'm going to give you I'll give you drop you a line on the dog and bone,
Yeah,
and you'll know
I
exactly what
understand.
I'm talking about. And I'll use Cockney rhyming slang.
But I felt like that
Do
with
the
Gabby in Love
All right, darling,
Island.
I'm going to give you a call
Yeah.
on the old bone. You know
All
what
right,
I'm saying? Like
yeah.
this, literally. And Chelsea will know exactly what I'm
Yeah.
saying. How important is that? Because
It is because, like I said, with Gabby, she's English from Love Island, and I made a joke, and I was like, "Oh, that's what she said," and Gabby was cracking up, and nobody laughed. And me and Gabby kind of looked at each other, and they were like, "Is this like an inside joke?" And I was just like, "No, actually, it's just like an English thing. Like me and my dad, we always say it, our family and my friends." And then when I explained it to them, now that lot, they do say it sometimes now, and we giggle about it. But like, in a way, when I knew that, when I got out of the taxi and they told me that I'll be going in with that girl, and they said she was English, instantly I felt so much more comfortable. I was like, oh, like she was my little comfort blanket. Yeah, 100%. And it was because, but then I also got really close with Marie afterwards. With Marie at first, when I saw Marie, I thought, oh, she's going to be a bitch. And she thought exactly the same about me. I was like, oh, I don't think we're going to get on. And look at us now, she's my best friend. So,
but that having those cultural like nuances and even with culture, with the fitness and so on. And for you, how important is it for you to meet somebody else who's from the US?
Look, I think in the entire time that I've lived here, I think I've probably met one person from America, 2 maybe.
wow. So your friends are Maltese a lot of
No,
them.
so this is what I'm thinking as you guys are saying this. I have friends from so many different nationalities, and I have like little groups. Like I've got my South African friend group, and I have like a little Swedish friend group, a little Irish friend group. I've got a Maltese friend group. And then I bring them all together. I've got Macedonians. I've got.
Do you change your morning greeting to each of them? Just like the Irish.
Yeah.
Is it top of the morning to you there, darling?
With the South Africans, because they're some of my closest ones. Like I've picked up their slang, and I know what they're saying. When we first met, I was like, "What are they on about? Like I don't even understand. Are they speaking English?" But now we get it, and I'm with them using their lingo when I'm with them. But I don't know. For me, that's part of what's been so interesting. And one of the things that I love about living in Malta is that I've met so many different people and so many different nationalities and so many I've learned so much about different cultures, and I've traveled so much more since I've been here. And I think had I just stayed in America and not experienced that, my life would be less full. I think it's really cool that I've met all these different people. I find it really interesting. I'd love to meet more American people, like obviously you bond and you click and whatnot, but I mean, there's just not that many people here.
I think with the English thing with me as well, no judgment, but when I'm around a group of Maltese, sometimes they kind of forget and start speaking Maltese, which I understand a bit, but once you guys get together and you're like, blah, 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 I'm like this. Like I am like, what the hell? Even my own family.
I get that.
My own family, sometimes I just get up and I leave. I don't even say goodbye because I've just got to the point where I'm like, my first Maltese boyfriend, I remember one time we were going to a barbecue and I said to him, because I know like the boys go with the boys and the girls go with the girls, and I didn't want him to just be like sat next to me the whole time. And I remember they were all cooking, the boys, and the girls were all sitting there. And I thought, right, I'm going to try to get involved. So I started speaking about things and they started speaking in Maltese. And it got to a point I thought, you know what? I put my earphones in and I rang my best friend. I sat in the corner. I put it up. Yeah, just stayed on FaceTime with her, chatting away. And then when the food came, we ate and then we left. And when we got in the car, he was literally like, you're so rude. And I was like, I'm rude. I'm rude. Okay, so I tried to get involved. They would then speak a bit in English and then they would change to Maltese. And I would just be sat there. And it got to the point where it used to happen all the time. And I thought, no, I'm not having it.
I think some people do it. I don't think it's always intentional because this happens at my office a lot. And I speak Maltese and I understand Maltese. My mother forced me to.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think it's super rude when you're with a group of people. Like when I had my Swedish group of friends, even though they all spoke Swedish amongst themselves, they would speak English if I was there, right? Just so that I could understand.
Yeah.
But sometimes they slip. It happens at my office. So my coworkers, there are a few of them that their native language is Maltese and they prefer to speak Maltese. We have a lot of foreign people in the office as well who don't understand. And I tell them all the time, like, okay, guys, if we're in the break room, let's keep it to English. Let's keep it to English. Let's, everybody needs to be included. And I remind them and I remind them and I remind them, and it just, it slips and it slips and it slips. And it's funny because like there's one of them, she'll be talking directly to someone who's foreign and in Maltese and like to her.
Yeah.
Not we're having a conversation.
Oh, I get it all the
like
time.
she'll be talking to her in Maltese and I'm like, dude, she doesn't understand you.
Yeah.
You're speaking
She's just
Maltese.
looking at her going like this.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
But it can be extremely isolating to be in another country, another group where you don't understand,
Yeah.
And
And everyone says to me all the time, why don't you just learn it? It's not
that
so
easy.
like,
Yeah.
and especially like
at this point.
I moved here when I was 22.
Yeah.
If I was younger, then you like get it a bit better, but it is quite hard. And with my accent, when I speak Maltese, it's just
I love Trudy's
terrible.
Maltese accent. It's great.
Ni ska kalla Bill Mod.
Wow.
Bill Mod Hafner.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Problema Rajal Mara. Swat soda.
No.
It's what? It's
No,
soda.
no.
see.
Don't understand at all.
Stick to what you know.
Literally.
Because whenever
It's what?
It's what? Yeah, what was it?
It's what?
It's what?
It's what? Soda.
And why that? Like what?
No, because whenever I've learned Maltese, three things happen when I speak Maltese, okay? Instant response. I either get someone going, oh, helwa, or I get
Cute.
someone saying,
Yeah.
and I'll say something. So, for instance, I used to say it on the radio. I'd give out all the road names, and I would say Trudy shut. I might speak to a Maltese person. I'll say, it's off Trudy shut, and they'll be like, I'll say Trudy shut. My Maltese husband will say Trudy shut, and they're like,
Yes. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry, I just
I
said
still
Trudy shut.
haven't understood what you're trying to say.
It's shot.
It's shot. You like it's shot.
It's shot.
It's shot.
It's shot down. It's shot. Yeah.
And then somebody else I might say something in Maltese, and they'll be like,
Our road.
Prosit. Imma mush taiba ush. Hazin. And they'll tell me that my Maltese is completely and utterly wrong. And as an English person, we
Did
just
you
shut
get that?
down.
Yeah.
We shut
Or
down.
when they laugh
I know,
at you.
I love it because Denise is looking at me going,
like this.
What the hell is she
trying
saying?
to understand? I mean, I can hear the words, what you're trying, but putting them in a sentence, you're really bad.
There you go. She's honest.
And this is why I don't have friends anymore.
You and I are friends for life.
This is why I don't have any friends.
This will be Denise's last podcast on the She Word.
Never to appear again. But it
Be
is
honest.
culturally, it is difficult, and it's not just the language. It is the sort of nuances, and there is, I think, another thing that is for me very important is that in English, as an English person, there is a whole undercurrent of language that most foreigners, even when they speak English, don't understand. So if I turn around to you and I said, Chelsea, I'm just a tiny bit ticked off about that.
Yeah.
Chelsea
I
would
got
be like,
you.
oh my Lord, the world is about to explode because Trudy's going to lose her shit.
Yeah.
Because I might say, I'm just a tiny bit upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'd know what that meant.
Exactly.
With all due respect, it took me a long time in Malta to realize that subtlety doesn't exist. So if I'm upset about something, I've got to tell you.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the cultural aspects are quite important. And even with my friends of different nationalities, I have to just be mindful now that some of my dialogue, my intonation, my vocab is going to be lost. And it's going to not have that kind of ease of just knowing that everybody understands what I'm
Kind of
saying.
like a language barrier, right? But
Yeah, a little bit of a language barrier. I want to touch on something that you said, Denise, right at the very beginning, and I know about Melissa as well. You said that your best friends when you were younger were two guys. Now, way back when, at the beginning of time, there was a film called When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I like that
And
one.
Harry says in the film, women and men can never be friends because sex will always get in the way.
No.
Do we agree?
We
I
spoke
do
about this
agree.
on one of the podcasts before.
Are you saying that I'm
think.
repeating myself? It's my show. I can't.
Yeah, yes. But I'm saying that we did speak about this. I have friends that I have slept in a bed with and have never had sex with. Men.
But I don't think that's what it's saying.
It's maybe that they want to have sex with me.
That somewhere along the line,
I've always
there's
had the
going to
problem.
be a tension.
Yeah, then they end up,
Okay, stop the show.
yeah,
Tell me.
they end up falling in love.
And that's how I end up having relationships, because
Oh.
I'm someone who's surrounded by men since I work in a men dominated industry, whether it's in fish restaurants or at the gym. I'm always surrounded by men. At the gym, very good looking men as well.
Are they single?
Milka?
Yeah.
So we start as friends, and they ask me to train with me. We end up being really good friends. And some of my other friends may say I'm very naive to think that they just want to be friends with me, and I obviously lead them on.
Yeah.
I do not lead them on. I'm just being a friend because I was friends with guys when I was younger. Okay, truth be told, there were moments where we thought that we could be something. But I guess coming back to your question, you will always have that thought. But if you really value the friendship, you just don't cross that line.
Yeah.
And if the man crosses that line, then he doesn't value you as a friend.
Exactly.
And he just wants you more than that. And that's why now I'm trying to be friends with girls rather than guys. No offense to men, because
Oh, but I love my guy mates.
I have some
It's so
really great
different,
guy
yeah.
friends, but they're all in relationships, thankfully. So I know that they will
And that
never,
changes.
that they will never cross that boundary.
Is that the difference? Is that either you or them are in relationships, therefore that whole sex thing is off the cards? Like even not necessarily physical sex,
guess
but
so.
maybe that idea of
But then
Yeah.
do people get jealous? For example, if you have a guy friend who's in a relationship,
I
Do
would be friends with their girlfriend like that.
Yes. I will want to
I
be
would-
the girl's
exactly.
friend straight away
I
to
will
show
understand.
her I do not.
make him
Yeah.
I have had nothing with you. I actually have a really good friend of mine that his girlfriend met me, and me and her sat down and had a drink. And then when I'm drunk, I do overshare a lot. But I was like, I
It's a
didn't
common
want
theme on this
even more.
group.
And I just wanted to let her know that there's never been anything, because we are like me and him together, we're like, oh, we're hitting him, laughing, joking. And some people from the outside could think that we're flirting, but it's not. He's literally like, I look at him like my brother, and like he's always been there for me. Like there's never been a moment that he's even turned around and said to me, oh, like,
flirted.
yeah, but even when he was single, nothing. And like even
Yeah,
from
I understand
my view, you don't know what's going on in a man's head. Don't get me wrong, because like that's what you're saying. They say, oh, but they always want to have sex.
And
with
that's
the
what
I
my
didn't
friends
say-
say.
No,
Harry
but
said it from
Harry
when
did
Harry
say,
was
yeah.
that was
But he
also a
didn't
long
say it.
time ago. So
No, but I like
it was a pretty old movie.
For some reason, when I'm single and I have a male friend, everyone thinks I am dating them.
yes.
And I really
But
hate
people
it.
make that assumption. So I have loads of male friends too, and we've made jokes with each other. We've been on holidays together, and people just because I'm outspoken, we're touchy feely, we're walking hand in hand. And at the time when we were both single, we were like, we're going to get T-shirts printed that say we're not together.
Yeah.
Because people automatically assume because they
Oh,
see you
good.
walking with
A
a,
woman
guy
and
and
a
having
man.
Oh,
an
good.
intimate conversation, like a close conversation or whatever, that you must be together. But we'd actually be like on the lookout for potential.
Yeah,
guys
like being
and
each
girls or
other's
whatever. And we were
wingman and wingwoman.
Yeah, we're trying to be wingmen and wingwomen, and people are thinking we're just on a date.
Yeah.
So, okay, but let's put this on the table. What is the rule of thumb when you are in a relationship and you have male friends, or they're in a relationship? What is the
Oh.
rule of thumb for male friendships?
There, it's just respect, really.
Mm.
Like I wouldn't like when I'm single and my friend is single, I would probably go and chill and watch a movie. But if I had a partner and he had a partner, I wouldn't go and do something like
Okay,
that. Go out for a drink, like
Yeah.
okay, but
Boundaries,
yes,
for sure.
exactly, 100%. That word, that's what I was thinking.
Boundaries and being open about it and not hiding
Yeah.
things. And I mean, it doesn't mean that you can just do whatever you want and throw it in somebody's
Yeah.
face and be like, well, we're just friends, so deal with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, boundaries and respect and
I have
communication.
some trouble with setting boundaries because I'm so open
Yeah.
and so friendly, and maybe that's why men tend to think that I'm flirting, for example,
Yeah.
because they would think that
Just very friendly
that
and they're
happens.
taking
I
it
am
the wrong
so
way.
friendly.
happens
And you
all
would
the
know, if
time,
you're a
too.
guy, you would know that I'm not interested in you because I start acting like a guy.
Uh-huh.
And what's funny is that makes them want to
Do
even
they
more.
know though? Or then like, do they
Yeah,
take it
it's
as a
weird.
challenge?
And you
'Cause
think
this happens all the time. And it's like you say, people call you naive. And I'm like, but really no.
Can I ask,
you
what
know?
does acting like a guy look like?
Well, first of all, I mean, I'm very much myself. I'm a big tomboy, but I'd be more like, well, I talk about my personal stuff, like, you know, the bathroom stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If I like you, I will never talk about that stuff. If you're a friend,
I see, I'd fart in front of anyone.
as if, no way.
Yeah.
No way.
On air.
If I ever had to
Breaking
do
the
that
ice.
F word in front of someone I
word, she
like,
can't
then
even
he's
say
my
it.
friend. No, I hate it.
No, I wouldn't either.
Oh no, I
happened a couple
I
of
used to have
times
a poo with
while
my
I'm-
boyfriend in the
No.
shower.
Oh my
goodness, no.
No way. No.
I'm very open.
That's such an
That's
ick.
where I
We have
said
to go back to the
boundaries.
dating show and back to icks. That's a
That's where I
massive
said
ick.
boundaries. No, I have a lot of girlfriends who do that. And I'm like, how the hell would you do that? I would friend you straight away. Even if I, the F word.
But you grew up
You're
with
not attracted.
sisters.
Yeah.
I
But
grew up
we've-
with brothers.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. The F word is fart.
Fart? Yeah, not
Why
the
can
other
Denise
one.
not
She
say
can't
that?
say it. All right, say you blew off.
Blew off.
Blew off.
Blew off means something. else.
No, blew off. Is it like fart in English?
That's what-
This
that's
is
what
the
you guys-
English barrier
Okay.
thing now.
But
I
in my
passed,
world,
I passed wind.
no.
Yes, my mum would say past
Yes.
wind. Yeah, sorry,
My
I
nan would
passed
say
wind.
past
Gas,
wind.
Past
gas.
wind. I'm
I
so
would just
glad.
say
I feel like
fart.
there is a friendship here that's developed just on farting.
Yeah.
Because Denise
Hooting.
can't say it. But so we've established with male friendships that it's all about respect. Respect
Yeah.
for yourself, respect
And
for
boundaries.
them, respect for if them showing you respect, if you have a partner, you showing them respect and boundaries.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to work towards wrapping this up. So I'm going to ask in about a few minutes, I'm going to ask for a closing thought on friendships. Before we get there, I've got a couple of things that I want to touch on. Friendships for a season, for a reason, or for life. Where do the rules apply to that? How do we know when it's time to give up and our friendship fling is over? How do we know when it's time to invest and push that further? Because we have to say that friendships are so insanely important to each of us, particularly as women, I think.
I think it's what we were talking about in the beginning, energy, right? Energy you're giving, the energy that you're getting back, the timing in your life. I think all of these things tie together, right? So you do have friends for a season, reason for life, yes. But then that's when timing and what was it, proximity and
energy.
energy come into play too. It's like it's a combination of everything. For me, I don't know. I feel like I know when it's
I just think
time
it's,
to give up on someone and when someone's worth my energy. And
But you did
again,
just-
going back to being flexible and not taking things too personally either.
And you also said it's about what you get back. And I
Yeah.
think that is incredibly
Yeah.
important.
I would say the person you are when you're with them, who they make you,
How they make you
how they
feel.
make you feel, and who they help you transform into,
Yeah.
sort of.
So what is that
Gold.
you are like the result of the 5 people that you surround yourself
Because obviously,
with?
like
That
you
you could
said,
be completely
you are,
yourself, basically, with these persons.
yes, and because we are all easily influenced.
Oh, yeah.
And
100%.
you adapt to whoever you're with. It's very natural to do so. So if you're with a group of friends or you're with a friend and they're alcoholics and they eventually turn you into one, I say that's where you have to draw the line.
Sure.
Because I'm giving an example, they're not making you a better person.
Yes.
No.
So I guess who you become, whoever you're friends with, is very important.
It's true though, isn't it? It's like some friend groups, we can be a clown. Some groups we can be shallow and we can be introvert. Some groups we can feel confident, we can feel safe. That is amazing, that to analyze who we are when we are around that friendship group. Who are we, the best version of ourselves?
But that also goes to energy and what you're getting back from them.
Absolutely. But it
Yeah,
also
the judgment, because like if you're fully yourself in front of some people that like your crazy side, let's say, and they're a bit judgmental, you think, all right, they're the friends that I need to calm down a little bit in front of, or something like that. So
This also leads me on to the final question before I ask you for your closing thoughts. Do you agree that we underestimate the value of friendship? Do you agree that we don't? I mean, it took us
I
6
think for
seasons
sure.
to sit down to
think
have
so.
this show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why do we underestimate how important friendship is?
Yeah.
I think that people don't give importance or priority to investment in their, well, as we're talking about now as we get older, right? We talked already about when we were young. I think as we get older, we tend to give less priority to our friendships. It's very easy to settle into our comfort zones, whether it's, being in a relationship, whether it's, it's Friday night and we just don't feel like going out. We just want to be on the sofa and do nothing and, not reach out and not make the effort. It's easy to opt out of plans. It's easy to cancel and not show up. Whereas if we had a work meeting or, some other sort of commitment, we're going to be there for it. So I think, in my opinion, friendships are critical to our happiness in life. It's one thing to be comfortable with being alone and being okay with being alone. But then there's a difference between that and loneliness too. And I think in order to avoid falling into that trap of loneliness, we need to invest heavily into our friendships.
I also think though, because last weekend, I kind of not like a depressing weekend. I just had so much going on for quite a while. I had a weekend that I had nothing. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to stay in.
Absolutely.
I didn't really, I would message here and there. I was meant to meet my friend on the Monday and I just texted her and I was completely honest. I just said, babe, I don't feel like socialising. I just want to sit and watch Netflix. And she just put back saying, are you okay though? And I put, yeah, just having one of them days. And she was like, if you want a cup of tea, you're more than welcome to come. I'm here.
No pressure.
And literally she went just like, oh, but you said that you're going to meet me. And then to make me feel even more shit that I'm like, okay, I've got to go. I just didn't feel like socialising. And it was nothing against...
I think that's okay sometimes.
Yes.
I'm just talking about...
Yes,
and
yes,
of
yes.
course, if we don't want to do something, there are going to be weekends. Like I did nothing last weekend. I just wanted to...
But sometimes you have to make that effort. It's not like I do it every weekend.
Chill.
Yeah.
But it's one thing if you're falling into that trap of never making an effort, always canceling plans, only paying attention to your partner, for example, and then you don't have other friendships, and then maybe that relationship or your work, and then you end up being in a situation where you can't reach out, So yeah, once in a while, absolutely. Let's bed rot and let's have a weekend watching Netflix for sure.
I love that honesty that you've got with your friend to be able to say that. I want to come back and ask Denise this question because do we underestimate the value of friendships? And the reason I'm asking you specifically is because the very fact that you have friend flings and maybe get the fear when it gets close means that you probably don't underestimate. You probably have the fear because you know how important it is.
For sure. I think it's very important to have friends. Extremely important. Coming from my experience, when I had a low in my life, I had no one to turn to. And because I had no one to turn to, I kept on turning to the toxic relationships I had, which were my partners at the time. So partner, sorry. And if I had a good support, a proper support group, if I had that friend, at least a friend, to help me pull myself out of the situation, to support me, to be there for me when I was lonely and vulnerable, it wouldn't have taken me years to get out of a relationship.
But that's you as well, you as a person, because I have, going back to my two best friends, I call them the angel and the devil. I ring them and one of them will be like, get rid of him, rah, rah, rah. And then the other one will be like, just give it a chance, you've done this. And she's more sensible about it, where the other one's just a bit more savage and she's like, oh that's good. Get rid. Do you know what I mean? Where it I try to balance it out a bit of certain things like that. But that's where, like you're saying, friendship is, you didn't have that person to call and kind of not help guide you, but you then gave your identity to this person, and you felt like you were not that you're nothing without them, because I've done it. I literally I got a boyfriend, dropped all my friends, and was like, "Oh my God, he's the love of my life." And they were all telling me, "No, he's an idiot." And
You
I
don't want to
wouldn't-
listen
No,
sometimes either.
Yes.
You know, you
I
can
actually
have the
told my
great
friend,
friends, but you're
"You know
like,
where the door is."
you don't understand.
Yes, I love him. He's
He's the one.
amazing, and all this. And I'm so grateful that, thank God, it was like obviously over, and they were still there. They gave me some shit. Don't get me wrong, they gave me some shit when I was like, "I'm sorry, you guys were right in the long run." But we all go through them phases in life.
But that's nice. Yeah, they were still there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I wish you had someone.
Oh, we've got our group chat now, so
yes, always. I know. No,
Listen, I'm a
I know.
self-sabotager, so it's all my fault. I can have the best of friends with the best of people. Like
I wouldn't say it's all your fault because, like I said, when my friends and I'm getting a bit down, my friends will push to. They know. Do you know?
Yeah.
So if I see that you're a bit, I'll just keep sending you.
I'm gonna start calling you guys.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
group
you've got
video.
good morning
Good
messages
morning
from
from
Melissa
Al.
every morning now.
She's going to be like, who's this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Please,
Funnily enough, you asked me on Saturday or Sunday, how did your race go?
Yeah.
No one asked me besides you guys.
Yeah. And we said, and straight away when she said good luck, I've met you once, I think. Yeah.
I was
Certain
like,
things.
I don't know these women so well, and they're really supporting me.
Of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
Guys, the she word bringing people
Yeah.
together.
Well, cheers
Women
to that.
supporting women.
Before we cheers and we say, here's to friendship, I would like a closing thought from each of you on friendship and your golden nugget of wisdom.
I thought we just did that.
No, I'm going to,
I
one
my golden
sentence.
nugget of wisdom.
I'm going to make you work hard for this.
I am friendless. I have nothing to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I would say make the effort. Friendship is important. Friendship is critical to our happiness and mental health.
That's
And
it.
send the good morning text, guys.
Yeah.
I
Or
like
you know
this.
what? Once every so often, send a voice note and let someone know that you're thinking of them.
Yep.
Make an effort to remember what people are doing and ask how their race went. Like something so small
Yeah.
Yeah.
can make
Has the
such a
biggest
difference in
impact.
somebody else's
Absolutely.
life.
It really does. It really does. I just think treasure the ones that treasure you.
Also,
Like
Good one.
my friends are literally, like I said, I completely shut them all out when I got in a relationship. And when it all fell apart, they were the ones that picked me up, like 100%. And I'll always be thankful for them. So just the ones that I think, you know, when you've got like a good egg, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
treasure them.
I'm going to say something, but then I'm going to
Yeah,
give
we
you
all
another
just
minute.
looked at Denise
Because I
like
also want to add to this that it's okay. Friends for a reason, friends for a season, and friends for life. We all have friends come into our lives and we can let them go. And I think that has been something it took me a really long time to realize. We don't need to have each friend forever.
And you don't need to please everybody.
and you don't need everybody to like you.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to like you. That's something that
Can't be
Although
everyone's
we-
cup of
we all
tea.
like-
yeah.
we all like you. Think
And
you're
your lips.
I'm not going to put you on the spot unless you want to, but I'm going to say cheers.
Yes.
Cheers, ladies.
Cheers, ladies. Ugh,
Friendship. Absolutely. Chin chin. What a nice show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like this drink.
Mm.